Our office administrator will be happy to answer any questions that you may have with respect to that process. So we thank you in advance for your cooperation, and we'll begin with the first item, which is concerned with a white picket fence at 47 Arrowhead Drive. And the homeowner is Barry Kevorkian of Arrowhead Realty Trust. Good evening. So,
would you like me to start talking, or would you like me to start talking?
sure.
Oh, okay. I've owned the property since 1979. I used to reside there. And in the time that I've owned it, I have had solar panels put on the house, which I went before the board to have the solar panels put on. I've had a shed built in the backyard, which I went before the board to have that built. I had vinyl siding put on the front of the house, which I've come before you to have that done. And I have had a handicap ramp put on the house, which I've come before you to have that done. It was not my intention to do something behind your back and put up a picket fence. My tenant came to me, and she wanted to put up a picket fence, and my two neighbors, I abut a house that has a vinyl picket fence on their house, and it was professionally installed, and I was never notified by the board that it was coming before you. My neighbor across the street has a vinyl picket fence. I was never notified, so I was really unaware that for a fence to be put up, I had to come before you. That's why it went up without notifying you. The fence is a composite. It's a composite wood. It has vinyl rails on the back of it. The pickets themselves are all hand cut, and it's actually quite a nice looking fence. She purchased it secondhand, and she started putting it up when we got the notice to stop. So it is not completely finished. It is all up as far as what she's doing, but she hasn't cut the post to height yet, and she hasn't painted the post yet. And other than that, it's done. And that's really all I've got to say. I feel it's an improvement on the house, and she keeps a nice piece of property, and so, I mean, I really don't have anything else to say.
Are there any abutters present?
So three of your immediate neighbors have fences that...
Two of my immediate
not
neighbors
permitted
got
either?
letters, yes.
Good, well, send us their addresses.
No, they got the letter.
Have your address?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah, we have a thing about vinyl fences.
Mm-hmm.
When they're first put up, they're nice and shiny and white.
Mm-hmm.
And in nothing flat, they start accumulating green mold. And I think the wind blowing over them charges them.
Mm-hmm.
You get an electrostatic charge, and it kind of attracts dirt. And and after a while, it doesn't take very long before they start looking kind of shabby.
Well,
So it depends on what kind of if this is really a composite and it's partly wood,
it is composite,
probably will
and
behave differently than these white ones that oftentimes, if you're driving around at night, when they're first put up, and even quite a while, as you drive, your headlights bounce off them and they light up like a neon sign because they're so reflective. And so we have a really strong preference for wood, or we've approved a couple of composites before.
If you look at the picture, you'll see that it is a composite.
Right, I can see
And they're
the
each
edges.
cut, and there's some kind of a coating on the outside to make it more permanent. It's not one of these fences that the pickets are inside the rails. The pickets are all on the front side of the rail to make it
Right.
look more realistic.
It does.
And the fence is probably about 10 years old. It's not a new fence. And if you look at the pictures of the house, the front vinyl on the house, she keeps it nice and clean. So I understand what you're saying. I do see that green and the black that gets on vinyl. I can't see that happening with my tenant, and it's her fence, it's not my fence.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
shiny,
Right,
it's a dull
right.
finish, so, anyone have a problem with it?
Well, just a point of clarification, the pickets are composite, but the rails are vinyl.
The rails are vinyl,
Okay.
the pickets are some kind of a composite, and the pickets are cut. The shape on the top of the pickets are cut.
Can see that.
And the rails are behind the
The
pickets.
rails are behind the pickets. The posts are wood.
Okay.
Okay.
A motion.
Move to approve.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
thanks for coming in.
Now you have to sign something here.
Okay. Do I come up?
Yeah.
Okay.
It just says that you're going to build it according to plan, and if you can make any changes, let us know in advance.
Okay. Okay.
And if you sign it, I'll sign it below you. Great. Thank you.
All right,
You're all
thank you very
set.
much. All right, thank you.
The next item is concerned with replacing all the windows and siding on house and garage at 53 Whistler Lane. Lois and Cara Malzone are the owners. Hi, good evening. Lou.
Just state your names, please.
Sure. Lou Malzone.
Caramel Zone.
Ready? We're here seeking approval to reside our house with the same material, same style, keeping the cedar shingles and doing the cedar clapboard in the front as it's currently sided. We would like to change the trim to AZAC trim, and the difference in the windows will be we're looking to do Anderson windows, black exterior with 4/1 for the grill pattern.
And the Revere pewter will be on the siding and the clapboards?
The Revere pewter, correct. The clapboard in the front would be the solid stand, and we would do the shingles in a semi-transparent.
Same color,
Same
basically?
color.
Good. So the house now has, what, 6/6?
Correct.
The reason you want to change the grill pattern, is that for aesthetic reasons or
Aesthetic reasons.
visibility?
Aesthetic reasons only. I like the look of the floor. I feel like it gives you illusion that the windows are bigger. My office has that style. It's kind of where I saw it first, and kind of the look we're going for.
And you're at the end of a cul-de-sac.
Right at the end of a cul-de-sac.
I have a bit of a problem with the black. Because it's gonna, you won't see the grills at all. It's gonna look like 1/1. It's a nice house, and it's, you know, three-quarter Cape design. It's very Cape Codish. And to change the windows from what they are now, it's a change in the architecture.
Yeah, we've put a lot of thought into it. You know, we're certainly hoping you can see the grills. It's not the look we're going for to not see them.
Any thoughts on this?
Changing the door trim color also to black?
Yes.
And the garage doors.
Garage doors will probably be the white
White,
the
Yeah.
trim.
yeah. Yeah, the garage, you changed the windows in that too?
No,
No,
no, like, I'm sorry, not the
Yes.
glass windows above the garage doors,
Transom
but
windows,
the-
no.
but on the sides?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
So the transit windows will still have a white,
yes. They'll be the same as the trim and the doors.
Yeah.
okay.
How determined are you on the black?
Pretty determined. It's my whole color palette. I work with color. I'm a hairstylist, so the Revere Pewter is a brown-based gray, and that light shade of gray with a black just creates a very great, it's a great pop. And then you have that really nice white dove trim. So the bigger picture it's eye-catching. And when you enter our neighborhood coming down the hill, it's just a beautiful piece of property.
Right.
So I'm just excited to do this exterior the way I've envisioned it.
Yeah, I grew up in a house that had 1/1s. But in those days, my mother would put curtains up. You know, and every spring and fall, we'd have a change of curtains, and we had this gadget with nails all around. You'd mount them to dry. They're full of starch, and when they went up, they were very attractive, and you could see them well through the 1/1 glass. And but I mean, she put a lot of work into it. And then the living room, of course, there were drapes as well.
Yeah.
So they were very plain windows, but they looked dressed up always. And these, I think, are going to be also pretty plain. And I'd say unless there's something behind the black,
Have the
you wouldn't even see
plantation
it.
shutters.
Yeah, we do have
Along the
plantation
first
shutters.
floor are all plantation shutters, and I do have drapes on the
Yes, in
inside.
bedrooms upstairs look like, the garage won't, though, probably not.
No,
Yeah,
The garage windows are only on the side.
yeah,
Right.
you can't see them from the road.
right.
So the front door will be black, but you have, is it an aluminum storm door? Is that going to remain white?
We haven't, no, that door won't be. We haven't got that far yet. But those doors are coming off, right, when they do this project.
Right.
And then we'll have to figure out, but that's kind of, we've been driving around looking at different places to see it, you know, what colors they're going with, you know, those kind of fixtures.
Okay.
Yeah, it would potentially black on that.
Right.
Mostly seen black, because it just goes with, but we're not going to paint the door black, just like the aluminum, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay. We have a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Now, again, we'll have to sign here. It just says you're going to build according to plan. Any changes, let us know in advance. Good. Thank you very much. Good night now. I mean, not too many people in the audience are old enough to do their curtains like that.
Hmm.
Okay, the next item is again to replace all windows and replace all cedar shingles with CertainTeed vinyl clapboard, and the trim will be wrapped with aluminum. This is at 16 Jeannie's Path, Mary McAvoy and Erica Berg are the owners, and we have the gentleman from Sprinkle Home Improvement here this evening.
Good evening. My name is Brad Sprinkle, and I am representing Mary and Erica, who unfortunately were not able to make it this evening.
Are there any abutters present?
Do you have a sample of the material?
I do.
There's a little chip here,
Okay.
but
Here's a-
it doesn't impress me.
This is the clapboard?
Clapboard, yes.
Okay. And
Yeah.
this aluminum trim wrap,
I'll explain. What we have is a house on Jeannie's Path. It's a small cul-de-sac with like 4 houses on it. It's got wood shingles on all 4 elevations of it, and they're in poor condition. It's an investment property, and it needs a lot of work. It needs the roof, the siding, et cetera. What we wanted to do is to replace the siding with clapboard siding. It sits quite a ways back from the road right there, and do built-in J-channels. The house across the street has vinyl siding on it, but when they did it with J-channel, and I feel that that detracts, and I think that you people would agree that it lets you know that it is vinyl siding when you see the J-channels. By doing the aluminum trim wrap, I can build the receiver right into the corner board, the window casings, door casings, etc. So all it looks like is a larger, wider casing. So instead of being a 1x4 trim around a window, it would look like a 1x5, and the siding would slide into the pocket behind it, so that it doesn't give that illusion. I'm also able to use longer panels, so there's virtually, I think there's a couple of seams on the whole front elevation of the home where it exceeds what I can do in one run. So we're going to be virtually seamless on that front elevation of the home right there. But the main intent, the trim needed to be painted or something, but I made the suggestion that we do the trim wrap so that we could get away from the J-channels and the ugliness, if you will, of what it would look
covers
like.
the entire trim.
That it covers the entire trim.
Okay.
This one.
That's a nice color.
So it'll have a, more or less a matte finish.
Correct. It will not be a high gloss finish.
Yeah, because the little chip that we got in our package,
It's glossy.
it's kind of glossy.
Okay, I'm sorry. That, the piece that you're looking at in that larger sample is an actual piece of a siding panel.
Oh, that is?
Yes.
Okay.
And the monogram series that we're using is their high-end, so it is a much thicker panel and is not going to buckle and wave.
Okay.
What about the shed?
The shed on the back is not being touched.
Can't be seen.
Not gonna
It
put
cannot be seen. It's on the back side of the home. It just faces the woods.
And so the aluminum wrap, that comes in colors?
It does, but we're doing it all in white.
How is it finished?
It has a matte finish on it also.
I mean, what type, is it electroplated?
They have it both in a PVC, and then they have it in a baked enamel. We're using it in a baked enamel.
Baked enamel?
Correct.
Okay. I expect that to last.
Yes.
Yeah. Aluminum doesn't do so well down there. Is it back primed? Is all 4 sides coated? I mean, all
I
2
understood the
sides?
question. I'm not positive. It is white both sides, so yes,
Yeah.
it is back primed on that.
And-
It really does hold up well, other than applications if we're on the beach or really close to the water.
Right.
It gets pitted, but this is really in a secluded area. It's quite well protected where this house is.
And what do you use for, how do you attach it? With aluminum nails? or-
Correct.
Yeah.
White aluminum
White
finish
ones,
nails, so
yeah.
we don't have any electrolytic
You
action.
use on AZEK?
Excuse me?
Sort of like the nails you'd use on AZEK?
Exactly similar.
Okay.
Except that we're not screwing and plugging, we're face nailing.
Right.
Yes.
Well, that's good. Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, we've been doing it a long time.
Have you?
We've been in business for over 70 years, and we've probably been doing siding for 45 of those years.
That's, sounds like a good plan. I move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
You have something on my side?
Yep. Good. You can sign it here and I'll co-sign it. Good, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Great, thanks.
Oops. The next item is concerned with seeking approval for changes to a previously approved plan for a second-floor addition at 22 Mayflower Terrace. That was signed off, the original plans, about 2 years ago, I think. The homeowners are John and Margaret Oberlander.
And none of these changes to the original application were approved by the board. Anyone present? No?
Well, see, this one is August 19th, 2016.
Right,
Right, that's the
This is
original, those are the
this is the-
approved plans.
Right,
original,
right.
That's the original.
Look good.
which were approved.
Then you have the as-built there. But this-
The frame inspection was done a year and a half ago.
It was done about a year and a half ago. Right.
Yeah.
I'm saying the plan originally that we saw was 2018,
No, that's
2016.
So the frame inspection had to vary from this original plan quite a bit,
Yeah,
and it was allowed? It was checked off on by the building department?
Correct.
These are significant changes. It's- The dormer
yeah. it's-
on the right, well, is next to what was supposed to be 3 windows, is now a different shaped dormer.
Correct. The reason the dormer was changed was because there was a steel beam that was required,
Okay,
which is where the plumbing equipment used to have, it had to go up.
yeah, that's not our concern. We're an architectural review board. I mean,
Yeah.
you can give us reasons for this all night, but the problem is you didn't come in and ask us ahead of time before you made these changes. These are significant changes. You've added windows too, and the height of the
The whole building is,
section on the right is the same height as the other. We've got fixed lights in 2 different places on the main house. It goes on and on,
The fixed lights.
these. And on each end of this house. Those weren't approved. And the height,
Didn't mention the octagonal window over the doorway.
Yeah.
Right. So the building department has issued a violation notice. Do we have a copy of that? No?
No, I don't have it with me.
Okay.
I have a copy if you like it. They issued me a violation notice because they said I didn't have an occupancy permit.
Because, I'm sorry, what?
I did not have an occupancy permit because they understood it as new construction, which, with that being said, I understood that you guys do your inspection at the frame inspection.
We're supposed to.
But if I might, there was some, this wasn't new construction, so Old Kings Highway does framing inspections only when there's a new construction, like a new home construction.
Right, I thought that.
This location, this building, right, does not have an occupancy permit, from what I understand in speaking with the building commissioner, because the home was gutted. No one was living there at the time of the construction, so the house was gutted, which means, and I don't know all the terminology, but an occupancy inspection had to take place in order for them to get the occupancy permit. Building department, from what I understand, and again, they're not here to speak on their behalf, but they went in to do an inspection and realized the plans were different than what was approved, and they asked, I believe they asked Mr. Oberlander for revised drawings, which is another part of how this all came about and came to our attention. It's, yeah.
Well, I remember this is just adding a second floor to an original, to the original house, which we have here.
Yeah.
Our-
But even features on that were changed. on
Yeah, this
first-
is like,
First floor.
so what you have is, what we have is an application for what something that's already done. This is a new application. But I can't see approving what you've done.
What is the purpose of the window under the gable and that upstairs wing?
I'm not sure.
This window?
That's for ventilation in the attic space. The whole roof is all foam sprayed,
Yep,
so there's no ventilation up there other than that window.
okay. I think you'd get more ventilation if you put in a proper vent. Because the ceiling is all insulated
The
too.
way that, exactly, the way that, no, the ceiling's not. It's insulated up and down. It's totally encapsulation. There's no gable in vents, there's no ridge vent, there's no soft vent.
Right.
So if I put a gable in vent
And when is the window opened?
in the summertime,
Yeah, but the rest of the year it's closed.
correct,
It's useless.
okay?
I'm saying you should put a proper vent in and take the window out and frame.
It's a conditioned space. It's a warm space up there because the insulation's up here. So if I put
Well,
air
then
in-
you have to insulate it with R30 across the ceiling.
It would actually, we can talk to the building department. I don't think it's even feasible because if you insulate that, this is not conditioned space anymore. All the heat stays down here. I have pipes in section one, so that's the attic space.
Oh,
Whoa.
May I?
What are we supposed to approve? This is completely different from what from your application, what's done here.
yeah, we would never
want us to-
approve this.
I mean, I don't think would approve, there's a whole bunch of things on here I would vote against. I'm not sure you want us to vote on this. You're gonna be tearing windows out, you're gonna be tearing down a bunch of stuff that's already done. You should come back and asked us, you understand?
Unfortunately, it was 9 months for me to get the permits. It was the middle of December, I had a roof open, we were living in the house.
Oh.
You know, it was like.
A rock and a hard place. Well, you see, but you put us in the position of, in a tough spot too, because,
I'm sorry, but you need to be at it.
I'm sorry?
You needed to be at it.
I wasn't on TV.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. But, you know, any suggestions?
Any of those?
And again, a lot of this would have been easier to change had what I would have expected the inspection to be done at the frame inspection, which again was a year and a half ago. We've been living in this house for 8 months, fully. You know, all furniture moved in, et cetera. I mean, unfortunately, to try to change things now with sheet rock, insulation, I mean, it's.
If I might just add another suggestion is that, again, the building department inspectors aren't here to answer any
No.
questions.
Well,
I can tell you what my discussions were with them, but that's,
that's secondhand. What,
and when they do their inspection of additions like this, at that point in time, they're inspecting, not that the Old Kings Highway aesthetics were done, they're inspecting the safety of what they did.
right.
So they're not there to say, oh, there's an extra window here. They're just there to make sure the window that's there was done correctly. Unfortunately, they have, from what I understand, they're changing the policy going forward because of this situation in particular. But you can always, if you want to, if you choose to, you can table until, and invite the building department here to discuss.
So going forward, the policy would be that when the building department does their framing inspection, that they would have to confirm that the dwelling has been built
I
to
can't answer that question
specs
because
that
it's
are-
not something that this is just something that we were discussing, that should possibly be the way that we
I
go
see.
forward. So it's in discussion right now.
Can the building inspector, if we invite him to our next meeting, would he be able to attend? He would? Well, then, I would suggest that maybe we should hear from him, because there's so many changes here that,
You have an abutter here, too.
do you have an abutter here? Oh, yeah, well, sure, would you guys like to step up to this microphone and?
Oh, Rick, please. This one here.
Craig Williams, I'm a direct abutter across the street,
Uh-huh.
and I don't see anything but improvement at this piece of property from compared to what it was. And I was a little bit surprised to get a notice about it. I did not see the original plans, so I didn't know there was any kind of changes done along the way. But I am familiar with the board, and I believe there is some leeway for changes when you are working on a project like this. And I am not familiar with the extent of the changes that were done on this particular project, but I would say that it is definitely 100% improvement over what was there. I drive by it every day, in and out. I think it looks great, and I think you should approve it the way it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sue Buckley. I live at 32 Mayflower Terrace, and I am here to talk about the major renovations at 22 Mayflower Terrace. As you saw, there was significant changes, egregiously done without prior approval by Old Kings Highway. Mr. Oberlander is the builder, so he should have known better. As stated in the Statement of Understanding, which he signed on August 22, 2016, in actuality, the town told him he could build Plan A, and he built Plans B, C, and D, basically doing whatever he wanted. I won't stand here and list all the significant changes, as I'm sure you all have them, and which I thank you for looking over. I don't think you should have sympathy, as this wasn't a mistake. I don't think that applies here. This gentleman is the homeowner. He built the home himself, and he is in clear violation of the town's orders, Old Kings Highway orders, and expects to come to you in front of the commission to say it's already built, so let's leave as is. So I know other situations in the town where the homeowners had to make changes and corrections to bring projects in line with what the town and Old Kings Highway required. I would hope that 22 Mayflower Terrace would be held to the same standards and be required to do the same. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Ma'am, could I ask you a question? Is there anything specific about the aspect, the appearance of the house that you find most objectionable? Clearly, you object to
The significant
the way in which
changes,
the present aspect of the house, how it looks. What is it about it that you object to most?
That he didn't go through the proper channels to build a home.
There's nothing specific that
Well, I
jumps
don't
out at
have
you
everything that-
as
I don't have all the lists that aren't correct in front of me that state what you can and can't do.
yeah. Because I mean, I'm sitting on this side of the desk and I see things that I find visually objectionable, and I'm wondering from an abutter's perspective if there's anything in particular that you dislike about the way the house now looks. I mean, I could prompt you, but I'd rather have it come
Well,
out of
I
your
mean-
head than mine.
Obviously, I live next door to the gentleman, and there's windows that are enormous. I believe there's the dormers that, the dormer on the right-hand side that does, to me, doesn't flow nice. The porthole.
Okay, thank you. This is where
Right.
this is what I'm trying to
Oh, I'm sorry, I
get out
know,
of you
I'm
because
sorry. I was, thank
No, that's all right. Thank you. I appreciate
you
it.
very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, the thing that hits my eye right away is the portico with the octagonal window. I can see no reason aesthetically why that window should be placed there, and I don't think it
And
should be.
that is really a significant deviation from the approved plan.
Very significant, and it really pops out at you. It's so different from all the other fenestration on the house. And it also changes the ratio of the height of that portico to the width. That's been changed too, because you've added height to that, to the peaked roof on the portico. So just to start with, if I were to focus on the one thing that I find most objectionable, it's that octagonal window. And I definitely would not have approved that.
I'm not opposed to taking that window out.
If you take that window out, then you've got that space that no longer has a reason to exist.
No, you'd have to lower the roof
You'd have to
line.
lower the whole thing back down to more, more like the original design.
Right.
Right.
The
It's not just
original
that.
design is fine.
It's all of these other windows that are not the same. That these fixed lights in each end of the central part of the house behind the entrance, the height of the separate area to the right, which I guess,
If you look at the
is
very,
this from the rear garage door?
that's,
I mean, okay, this is, you've changed the height of that, changed the pitch of the roof. You've got, the dormer was supposed to slant down, and then we have the dormer in the front like a doghouse dormer. It goes on and on and on. These fixed lights in each end are troubling.
Yep.
This is
we can
a
go.
living space up there?
No, that's a,
Do they open?
it's attic. Yes, they cracked. There are 2 awnings and a casement.
Well,
Is that one of those areas,
It's up in the attic area,
foam,
yes.
like on the
Yep.
other side?
Yes, sir.
Those are the only windows in that section then?
they're in the other end as well, in between the two, right here.
Yeah,
See?
yeah, yeah. Both of them, right. Oh, they could do away with those over there and just.
Maybe, I mean, you need a window there and a window on the other end, with like a double hung window, one in here.
Leave that in. Okay, do you
And you know-
want to table this?
I have, yeah, I think I have to remind the board
Well-
again that don't forget that, so you're facing Fallon's Pond?
The back
Diamond's
of the
Pond.
house.
The-
No,
the-
not
The house
Fallon's.
faces the Cranberry Bog. The
I
back,
mean,
the back of the house
no,
is
but the backside of it,
Dinah's Pond.
Dinah's Pond.
Dinah's Pond. Okay, navigable waterway is a
Yep.
public way.
Yep.
So, I remember this, I remember thinking, mentioning that, I believe, that we have to consider our Bass River as a public way.
Well, yeah, it's Dinah's Pond, but yeah,
Right.
Right, it's only a couple feet deep.
yeah. And the amount of, I don't know if there's a picture there with the amount of landscape that's in the back, the trees cover the house in the rear.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think, Richard, before we move to table, we're going to have to give him some guidance as to exactly what we want.
What he should-
we want him to do.
Well, I guess we could. I have a problem with that window on the front up above this one. And there's another on the back of the house. And perhaps we can do away with the one on the front. Same thing on the other end. You have those 3 windows, and they could be here. They could be taken out because on the other end of that section, there's another couple of windows for ventilation. And also, the front door design,
The front door is existing from the original house. I didn't touch it at all.
front door itself,
Yeah.
yeah, but up above it,
Oh, okay, above the,
that could
yeah.
revert back to the original plan from 2016.
The main reason that portico area was raised is because when I went to building, they required me to pull the electrical panel out of the basement because it's within the 10-foot flood zone. That's where the electrical panel is. So all the wires come up from the portico and go into the main house. So if I lower that roof, the wires can't make it into the main house. That's the reason that was raised. The only reason I stuck the octagon window in there was to fill that void.
Well, we can change the octagon window.
I could remove the octagon window. I could
Yeah.
put a casement in there. I could put a single
A small.
6 light in there. Actually, that isn't even a window. There's nothing but a fixture on the outside. It doesn't permeate through the house,
Right,
you know.
yeah.
So,
You could just put a siding there.
no, you have to put something there.
Well, it could be like fancy shingles or something,
It could be a small window,
right?
small double hung.
So you're telling us that the height of the portico is etched in stone, can't be reduced?
Because
The
of this
wall
wiring.
height is. I could change the pitch of the roof.
but you're still gonna have you can change the pitch, but the peak is still gonna come, it looks like above those windows?
No, I could lower that with a different pitch.
Could save yourself.
The wire's
a lot.
still
Or
gonna-
like the originally
Right.
Yeah.
approved design.
I think that's what we're looking for,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. How low can you go?
I could probably, well, without looking at pictures,
Well, you can look at one.
this one. Yeah,
I mean,
so,
if you do something like that.
yeah, because then I still have space to get, the wires that run through there.
Yep,
Unfortunately, there's a double beam that runs through this entire thing, so the electrician couldn't drill through any of that stuff, he had to go over it.
what type, you mean an iron beam?
Yeah,
You can drill holes in that.
it's steel.
So you can drill holes in steel. I drill holes in steel every day.
But the entire panel that's running through, there's 40 wires that run down
Sure.
the panel, so.
Yeah. That you're gonna need an engineer for. Or you're gonna have to talk to the building department about, but, see,
Right now-
okay, we're getting back to the building department again. Maybe we should,
that's why I say,
yeah,
the items.
give us some ideas, but,
Well, that's what I just did.
Yeah.
There's several that I just gave you as to what needs to be addressed from our point of view. And then with the building inspector, building commissioner, actually, he could
right.
help decide on that. Okay, so I
Yeah.
say we
So, just for clarification, so it's the octagon window in the front,
Right.
the window on the right-hand
Well, wait a
side
minute,
in the
don't
attic?
move, stick with that for a
This guy
second.
up here.
So to lower that,
Yep.
Yeah.
Gonna lower
change the
that,
pitch so
and-
that you can achieve that.
right.
And how low are you gonna get? I mean, you're up above the bottom of the window frame on the second floor now.
Yeah,
So-
it still will be.
It still would be? The
be
peak
further.
is still gonna be in the same place?
The
No, it'd be
peak
lower.
would come closer to matching the
Down.
peak of the other roof that slants up.
Right.
Like in the original one, you just like a shingle below it,
Correct.
7 inches or something, 5 inches.
Yeah, even if it
Get
goes
down,
to that.
get down to the.
I can
okay.
get close,
Okay,
you know?
I mean, I think that change alone is a big step forward.
That is,
okay, and then, really, these windows,
yeah.
okay, can we put, on each end of this part of the house, can you put one double hung?
On each end, if you,
You've got these, and then you have these,
yeah,
which are on opposite ends of the same part of the house, right?
Yeah.
The central part. I mean, we're trying to be
Yeah.
realistic here. You have to do something. And I'm not sure what
Smaller dome.
I think we should talk to, with the building department, and
Yeah,
then
that's what my
have him
concern
here and
is.
see what's feasible, next
I
time.
think what the building department's going to do, they're going to support any decisions you make tonight.
Well,
Um,
they
So
would,
they're not going to help to design the house.
No, I'm not
They're
asking
gonna.
that.
So what, okay.
What he's suggesting is,
That's what I
like,
get.
he can't put the wires in if he reduce the pitch to the original plans here that were submitted. So we're giving him a little latitude in moving this up
Right.
higher.
Right. So,
Was
so
that-
I'm just trying to
Is
understand.
the
some-
building department going to agree to that? Where the wires
Yeah.
running next to the metal beam, whatever?
Yeah.
That's not
That's an
our
electrical
decision.
issue, right, that's
his-
the
his-
electric, that's going to be the electricians, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
then, yeah,
and what else?
yeah, I don't expect to see a plan next week,
No,
you don't?
no.
Okay.
I
no.
don't think so.
Oh, all right.
But
I think we'll work on the plan
what
at the next
we may
meeting.
end up doing is making a list.
Go, you can come up and speak.
question?
Go, if you could go to the mic, sure, please.
I can see what's getting complicated. Is there any way that you can have John change some windows and make the board happy?
Tonight?
Obviously, changing the pitch of the roof is a little bit ridiculous as far as a change
we're just talking about over the
Over the
front
front door.
entrance, not the pitch of the whole house.
No, I understand. I'm following you 100%.
Right.
But would you, the board, be happy if he changed some windows? So, just so we didn't have to have another meeting, have
Oh,
the
you're
building
gonna have to have
inspector
another
involved and
meeting.
everything?
No.
We're gonna have to have the building inspector involved no matter what?
Yeah?
I think so.
All right, I understand where he's coming from with the steel beam. Obviously,
Right.
you can't put holes through steel beams. You're wiring the
That's
whole
why
house.
That's why we need the building inspector.
Which, are we gonna need the wiring inspector too?
Well, we'll,
Just a thought.
we'll find out.
I'm just thinking outside the box here.
We'll find out before the next meeting.
Okay. So we're definitely having another meeting? You guys can't solve this now?
No.
No, this is.
No way? Okay.
This is so far off the beaten path, that we're changing processes here, okay, because of this. We don't see this much aberration ever from what we've approved.
Yeah.
And all
Even
my
on
time
a
here.
remodel as such as this? I
No.
mean, this was a major remodel.
People come in and say, I'm going to change this, and if Beth decides that we, as a board, have to look at it, they come in front of us. That wasn't done here.
Yeah, this was a substantial remodel compared to what was there
Understood.
originally.
And I agree with you that it is a vast improvement. Unfortunately, it should have come through us.
Okay,
It's a state law.
yeah.
I mean,
No, I
we're
understand.
open to we have some latitude in interpreting it, and we have experience at doing this between us many years, but this is really a major aberration.
Sir, when we approve an application, the last thing that the chairman says to the applicant before he leaves the room is, if you are going to make any changes to this design, you have to come back and inform us, and we will decide if we can accept the changes.
Okay,
So that's just the procedure.
yep,
That wasn't adhered to here, which is why we're faced with the problem that we're facing.
okay, I understand. All right, thank you.
Well, I appreciate the fact that we have abutters to come in and speak, because a lot of times we get stuck with something like this, and abutters don't show up. I think it's great that you guys came. Thank you.
Yeah, I would concur with that.
Okay, you want to make a motion to table?
Motion to table?
Yep.
Well, why are we tabling? We need to be.
Good
The
question.
reason
That's a new ground here. Motion to table for lack of information?
My suggestion, not that I.
Pending information
My
from the
suggestion would
building
be to give a
inspector.
listing of the modifications that you would like to see, and then we can table it with those modifications for discussion, those modifications to be discussed at the next
Right.
meeting. You need to
Okay,
be specific on, you know what I mean?
right.
So you could do that.
We can do that. It's a good start.
So we have some direction, and
Okay,
so lower the front entrance portico, remove the octagon window.
yep.
On the
And
gable ends of, is it the main side of the house?
these, yeah. the
Or
main-
whatever section of the house that is, replace those windows with
With maybe one double hung?
with single, double hungs,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And then we can, at least we have something, a place to start.
This ground-mounted unit has to be landscaped. Can't be visible from the road.
Yeah, but that's something they could, be willing to do that, I'm sure. But specifically relating to the actual building itself.
So that the two windows on that one gable, a triple window will go.
On which?
This,
Yes, exactly. I think so.
and then on the other end.
To
So two
to
on that
match,
end and
to
one on
match
the other.
these, one on each end?
Yep.
Okay. Do you know what we're talking about? These here?
Yeah.
We'll put a double hung up there, and on the other end, the same thing, where these two are. Okay, another double hung up there,
Okay.
just size whatever you can fit in there, okay?
And then on the front side of this, I think we should do away with that window.
do away with this window?
Yeah, there's one in the back.
Oh, I see.
It's open all summer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this was a triple window, this is a
Right,
single.
that's what when they were all they were 3 singles, they didn't come as them all together. So when we realized what we had to do, when this went up, we stole one of those and stuck it up.
Oh. But you changed this dormer to another style.
Right, because, again, because of the framing that was coming through here with the plumbers.
Yeah,
So we just brought it back to this wall, which is, an
Okay.
actual carrying wall, which brought the roof up.
we have to be sympathetic. Your neighbor spoke, and she's right. You just can't do the stuff on your own. It's not, I mean, box yourself into a corner here.
I understand that at this point. And again, when it was all going down, and, I was trying to get myself, we were living in the house, actually, when we were in that section, but,
Okay. So, anything else that,
Okay, so the motion is,
Just a minute, hold on. John asked if there's anything else. Minor point,
Yeah.
maybe minor, but from the the plan here is not strictly in every aspect reflected in the
pictures.
actuality.
no, no.
For example, the 2 windows to the right of the projection, gabled projection, dormer, I guess I'll call it. Those are smaller. The proportions are different than they are on the
Right.
plan. And I actually think the plan is a happier proportion than what you've actually executed here.
Oh,
You're
much.
changing window heights and widths and, combining a lot of different elements here that aren't happily combined together, it seems to me.
So those
I mean,
windows,
I think we've focused on the most egregious things, but there are other things that could be adjusted too that would make I think for a more satisfactory end result. So
I believe those windows you talk about are the existing windows from the main house. From the
okay,
original.
but I'm just saying
Yeah,
the plan that we're looking at
Yeah.
shows different windows,
Right.
okay.
The revised plan?
which I like better, frankly. I think they're a better proportion and they relate better to the rest of the fenestration on the front facade. So the only reason I'm bringing this up now is because we've been in situations, we were in a situation at the last meeting where we had requested modifications to a design, and then the architect came back with the modifications, and then further suggestions were made, notably by me, because I hadn't been present at the meeting where we had requested the original adjustments, and I just don't want to put you through repeated meetings here where we say, well, that's good so far, but now we want to go a little further with other changes.
Well,
I think
So I think
we've given him some changes to consider, and
what else?
if he thinks about it over the next 2 weeks and comes back and says, okay, I'll do them, and Mark is here to say, it looks like you can do that without violating any codes of the building department.
But that doesn't necessarily restrict us to say,
No,
okay,
I
we're
agree.
done now.
Right, exactly.
And I want you to understand
Yeah,
that doesn't restrict us.
it's a work in progress.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're moving in a direction, this is a difficult case, and we're trying to
This is unprecedented.
We're trying to fix it, but it might be incremental.
So-
You understand what I'm
Know what to
saying?
do.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an unfortunate situation, but we'll try to make it as easy on ourselves as well as you, hopefully, and your abutters and neighbors as well.
Okay, so do we have a motion to table it for this purpose?
Yes.
I'll move to table it.
Second.
Moved, okay, all in favor? Table.
Aye.
like.
So do you want revised plans for next meeting?
No, I don't think we need, do we? No,
would say
not
no.
necessarily. That's in 2 weeks, another set of plans with just those.
So
What he could do would
As
be,
Bob
I
said,
apologize, because this is just, this one is,
yeah, we're.
everyone is like so confused on this one, because
we're
it's a
on
first. We're on uncharted territory here.
Uncharted territory, exactly. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
I don't think we need plans for the next one, but we need to agree.
But what do you, so
You're-
if Mark comes next week, if the building commissioner comes next week, what is his role going to be here?
Well,
I just need to understand that to,
I'd like
oh,
to,
I'll talk to Mark.
sorry,
okay.
Richard?
I'll talk to Mark.
Okay,
Okay.
because he did ask for a decision on what you guys want changed, and then
Right.
he would look at that.
One
but
thing you
we
could
need
do
something-
is draw up
This is a public meeting.
the new design for over the front door.
Right.
That you could do. The other things that we're talking about are basically off-the-shelf windows. So you're gonna put this, take this out, put this in. So you don't have to draw that, we know what they look like.
Right.
John, you're okay with the...
And we'll do our best to get it resolved at the next meeting, but we can't guarantee that
Okay.
right now. As long as you understand that. Okay.
Brought that note.
Okay,
Sorry.
I think we're all set.
wasn't?
All approved.
Yeah,
We discussed
well,
that
the
this
rear,
afternoon.
yeah, the rear of the house, we're gonna have to consider as well, I think, because it does
It
face.
doesn't match the plans.
Yeah.
There was some other issues with the, I'm sorry, there were other issues with the as-built pictures
Right.
versus the as-built plans didn't match up.
Right, but
In the back.
they're the type of things that we can tell them to replace this with that. You don't have to do any drawings for it
Okay,
at this point, at least.
the-
We may eventually request a new set of plans that
Wait,
are
eventually.
really up to
Okay.
date.
yeah, not, exactly.
Okay. All right.
Let's do it
I
that
don't
way.
mean to muddy the water on it. I just.
No, I understand
I'm just
what you're
gonna- I
saying.
need to somehow,
Explain
this tomorrow.
As Bob, no, as Bob said, we're gonna leave it, leave it open
okay.
to further,
And I will invite the building commissioner.
okay.
And if he feels that the need for I don't know if the electrician can answer those questions by looking at these plans, or if they have to actually see, aren't there other electrical plans that are submitted when, no, I don't understand any of that, so, okay.
Well, we can.
Well, he'll bring
we
with
can
him whoever he
speak to
feels
him
should
at
be
the
here.
time.
All right, so this is tabled.
Okay, we're all set then. We'll see you next week, or 2 weeks.
September
2 weeks.
September 23rd.
Okay, do I need to come in and fill out anything for you?
Not now.
Okay.
Just book
Not
it.
that I'm aware of. There's
Just-
nothing to
Yeah,
fill out. We're
yeah,
just
yeah.
going to continue with the discussion.
Just keep the lines of communication open,
Okay.
please, from now on,
Yes, got my number.
all right?
I will.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, the next item is concerned with replacing street-facing bow window with double-hung windows at 38 Weir Road. The homeowners Richard and Joanne Arrhenius, and Southern New England Windows is the agent, and you are.
I'm Eric Woods with Renewal by Anderson of Southern New England.
I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Eric Woods,
Thank you.
and we were looking at converting a 3-window bow window to a flat unit with 2 double-hung units molded together, white interior, exterior with no grids, basically replicating the other double-hung windows that are already existing in the house.
The house was built in 1971.
Yes, sir.
So there are no grids
No grids.
elsewhere in the house currently?
Exactly.
But you have no plans to change the principal bow window flanking the door?
Not as of yet, no, sir.
Any abutters?
Bob, what were you just asking about?
There are two bow windows.
Oh, there's two. There's one on each side?
Well, there's
Well,
the
one next to the front door
principal one flanking the front door, and then there's the one that's...
Oh,
by the kitchen.
okay.
And the one that's to the right of that is the one under discussion, correct?
The one closest to the garage, yes, sir.
Yes, I
Yes,
see.
to the left, I meant.
Yeah.
As you're looking at it.
Right.
That's what the big black arrow was about.
That's the one.
Good, we're all on the same page.
Get in trouble with those Sharpies.
Yeah.
The direction of the hurricane is directly at those windows.
Watch out, Alabama. Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Again, we'll have to sign this. It just says that you're going to build it according to plan, and if not, come back and see us before you do anything. I'll take it. Thank you, Eric. Yep.
Thank you.
Right. I guess I better sign it too. Thank you. The next item is again to do window replacement. This one's at 11 Ridgewood Drive. And the homeowners are Chrismond and Franesca Jean-Jacques. Are they here? Andrew Sweet is the agent. Do we have Andrew here?
I wonder if Eric Woods was supposed to hear this one.
Eric.
It's the same agent as the prior application. I'm
Yeah,
wondering if
just a
Eric Woods was
different-
supposed to stay for this one, but he
Oh.
didn't.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, well, you can.
Well, let's
Table
table
it
it
till
to
the
the
end in
end,
case he
table it to the
realizes
end of the
it.
meeting, and if maybe the owners are watching television. Tell your guy to come back.
Oh.
We'll move to table to the end of the meeting.
Second.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, he may realize it and come back. This is another 1971 house. Okay. The next item is concerned with replacing all single double-hung windows 2 to be replaced, and also put twin double-hung mold windows at 82 Center Street. Laura Maruzzi is the owner, and Project Managers is the agent. I think we have project managers.
Good evening.
Okay.
God, you've had a hell of a night, haven't you?
The night is young.
It's going to be so boring, Beth. Geez, I gotta put myself to sleep.
State your name, please.
There's no handguns in the room, I
Yeah, geez. My name is William Planachek. I own and operate Project Managers here on Cape Cod, and I'm involved with Laura Morosi. And we're just looking to replace 15 windows, all 6/6, all vinyl Andersons, all white. And the 2 front windows, currently, as you can see on the front, looking at the house on the right section
Yep.
of the door, you see an 18/18, I believe.
You
A
don't
little
see
tough
that.
to,
You
little
don't
tough
see
to
those very
replace.
often.
Yeah, a little tough to replace. So what we decided to do is to split them and put 2 single windows in, 6/6s. On the back side, you also see a mold window in the kitchen area, which was another fairly large window to replace, and we just couldn't hit the numbers on the 6/6s or so forth. So we're mulling 2 6/6s together. Same ROs on the back, and 2 new ROs on the front of the building.
So all the windows all around are going to be 6/6 now?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay.
Move to approve?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. This is the initial signature there. Just saying you're going to go according to plan. Do I have to?
Yeah,
If
yeah, you do.
If you can
Yeah,
make,
you do.
if you make any changes,
Come on.
I'm
this
witness.
is
Jeez, we're getting
for
along so
your,
well.
for your benefit, so.
better than to mess with.
Thanks.
Thank you. The next item is to replace 9 windows, eliminate the door at the front of the house, replace clapboard with white cedar shingles on the front of the house, and install a skylight on the rear roof at 29 Bray Farm Road North. Michael Pimento is the owner. We have Mike here, I guess.
Yes, that's me.
Good.
A difficult email to forget.
What's that? I'm
It's a
sorry.
difficult email to forget.
I'm bad with that stuff.
Knucklehead@maine.com.
That was supposed to be my password. That's how bad I am with email. So that's how that ended up. That's why I don't email.
Okay, so you're moving the door to the right towards the garage,
The one closest to the garage, yes.
okay? Siding is gonna be white cedar,
Yes.
skylight in the rear,
Probably not going to happen, but I asked anyway.
okay. Not a problem.
I think the elimination of the front door is a good idea.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Second one, no.
Don't need 3.
No.
no. Okay. And the windows are 4/4.
No, I'm sorry, I drew those improperly.
6/6?
They're all 6/6. That was my mistake.
Okay.
But they are in the pictures, correct? You have the
Yeah,
photos
in
that
the-
show.
Let me see.
Okay, any more
That's what I
questions?
move to approve.
Second. Your turn.
All in favor?
That one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, sure.
Sure.
Now that I've been there a while, I'm looking at the bay window. It's a little more beat up than I thought, but if I were to change that, would you object to if I did some double hungs and kept it flat? Would I need to come back for another meeting to do that? Or,
We have, wait a
You
second.
can
So
probably take
let's-
it as a minor change.
Why don't we, hold on.
Is it on the front of the house?
yes, it is.
Why don't we move to, I'll move to reopen. Is that,
Okay, that's,
After what we open.
it's an
okay?
idea.
We
It's
have to,
not in-
oh, no, it's okay. We're gonna reopen this.
Okay, you take it off.
Need a second.
Second.
All in favor of reopening?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, oh, I see what you did. Okay, that bay window, if I were to change that to a couple double hungs, so I could get a little more air in there, and also because that window's a little more beat up than I originally thought,
Okay.
would I need to come back for another meeting? Or is that something that's a
Well,
small enough change?
Why don't
that-
you just,
Well, talk about there's going to be spacing between the two windows?
No, well, the
Just side
the
by
minimum,
side.
yes. I'd like to get
Sizing
them
side?
mauled, I'd like to get everything the same, all the grills.
Yeah.
okay, well,
And it'll be the same window.
Same exact-
Proportion as the one flanking the doorway on the projecting end. The projecting gable end, is that the kind of window we're talking about?
Yes.
That size?
Well, no, I would have it fill the whole void that's there now.
well, if you
It's
But you're
about-
doing
it's
two
about an
windows.
8 foot. I wouldn't resize anything, except the glass would be about the same. You know what I mean?
already residing, so I mean, you can change the framing. You just,
He said
Well,
resize.
I like the big glass in that room from the inside.
Okay.
So I would try to keep the glass on the, you know what I mean, by the glass on the outside, but where with the bay, you only have these two little ones.
Well,
that
let me
open
see
on-
if I can explain this better. So the bay window is about the same height, or
Yes.
exactly the
Yeah.
same height
Same
as
height.
that window that's to the left of the
Yep.
Yes.
door you're keeping.
Right.
Yes, on a
So
small
the
gable.
two windows that you're going to replace the bay window with would be the same height.
The same height, yes.
Sounds all right.
yeah, that's fine. So
Yeah.
we'll just put a modification,
To
yeah. Why don't
amend
you,
the application?
I don't think so.
All right.
no?
You need a modification,
I think it,
because he's making a change to the.
He's making a
plan
change
that's
to what's
And when the building
submitted.
department does their approval, they're gonna be looking
Right.
at our
Yeah.
plans.
okay.
Good.
Yep.
So move to approve the application as amended.
Yep.
Right,
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's good. That looks even better.
All right, thank you.
That will.
Great, thank you. You need to sign, okay.
Okay. Thanks. Good luck with it all.
Thanks.
Hold on, hold on.
But you have to sign the amendment, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
The yellow sheet.
You can see Robert.
Actually, Bob's handwriting is gotten better as we go along.
You can read it now.
I haven't had to retype it.
So, making progress.
You guys are killing me with trying to write my minutes. All right, so this one had. Plus one.
So as I understand it, you are not absolutely certain you're going to do this, right?
Probably more of a financial thing.
Okay,
but
so,
eliminating the skylight,
all
I
right.
think, in order to do
All
this.
right, so the way I've phrased this, replace owner's option, bay window with 2 double-hung windows matching in size and grills, the window to the left of the remaining doorway. Okay. Okay, so you need to sign that. Okay. Great.
That's it.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is concerned with extending a kitchen forward to the edge of the existing porch foundation at the front of the house and eliminating door and replacing window at the rear of the house at 23 Red Jacket Road. Jonathan, Jennifer, Constant are the owners, and they're both here.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
How are you?
Surviving.
This is going to be an easy one, I
A lot
hope.
of fun. Never volunteer for anything.
Is there
Careful what
Monday
you
night
wish for.
Football tonight?
What is it?
Monday night football?
Yeah, what is
It
it?
was a pretty good game on, I think, early. Okay.
So basically,
kitchen?
we basically have a, that little porch that juts in a little bit to our front door, or, well, side door, the Cape Cod door, I guess.
Sort of like a farmer's porch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me?
This
That's
one?
it,
Yeah.
yep.
All right.
And quite frankly, it's just got a bench on it, and it just grows spider webs, quite frankly. So we were thinking about doing our kitchen, and we'd like to gain the extra 4 feet there in order to put an island in. The front will look exactly the same as now, except with the vertical grades, vertical groove siding that's on there now. I'd like to put clapboard siding there to match the front of the existing house.
Good.
The rear of the house will have, there's a door that leads out to a patio. We'd like to close that up and put 2 casement windows on either side of that. On either, so there'll be a stove there, and there'll be 2 casement windows, and we'll be eliminating that door to the back,
Okay.
and we'll be using our existing sliding glass door as our entry to the backyard now. The other thing is that we do have a door to the garage that we have to go outside to get into our garage now, and we're going to move that door in, so now we can access the garage from the inside of the house.
Okay.
Which is an interior change, we're not going to see it on the
Yeah, we-
exterior,
No,
so.
no,
That's right.
you're not. Although you can see that door from the outside, but you'd have to walk up to the door in order to get to it. I did put an option drawing, I believe, in there that does have shingles, white cedar shingles instead on the front. And if that's what you guys would like, we'd be happy to abide by whatever you guys want to do.
No, I think the clapboard would be good.
I just think that the clapboard on the front really makes it blend with the rest of the
Right, with the
house.
rest of the house.
Good use of existing space.
Yes. And there's no structural, the foundation is already there, so it's, for framing purposes, it makes it an easy fix.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Have fun.
Okay.
Yeah. New kitchen. We didn't see how much refrigerators cost.
Stoves, thanks, guys.
Bob. Now, we have a demolition and then construction of a new single-family. This is at 16 Pine Street. Mary McNally is the owner and Joseph Dick is the agent to demolish a house and garage in preparation for new construction. It's a narrow lot.
Good evening.
Hi.
Joseph Dick, architect.
It's a pretty narrow lot. It's 60 feet.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty sad little house. I almost feel sorry for it, but not really. Move to approve.
Well,
Second.
do we have a butters?
For the
We must have a butters because we're running out of,
Yeah.
and, okay. And you have no objections to the demolition?
No objection to the demolition.
Okay,
So we had a motion
yeah,
and a seconded.
all right.
All in favor of demolition? Aye.
Serious.
So the next item is to construct a new single-family home at 16 Pine Street. And Mary McNally again is the owner, Joseph Dick is the agent. So, Craftsman style. Let's see. Cove Dutch lap?
Yes.
Okay. That's in keeping with the Craftsman style.
I must note that there's an error in labeling on one of those elevations. And I labeled the two side elevations north and north, and one of them should be labeled south, which is A5.
Mine is left and right.
A5 says right.
I have left and right.
Someone must have added left and right then to the
Okay.
drawing.
That would be, that's
Oh,
something.
you mean the writing on the bottom? That
Yes.
was me.
Okay.
But on
I noticed
in the
that it was
title block
confusing.
where it says A5, that's
Right.
the south.
Okay. Do you have a sample of that roof, Joseph?
It's red cedar. Oh, the lead coated copper?
Yeah.
I do not know. good about lead-coated copper is that it dulls. And as it dulls,
It's like
it
pewter.
becomes like pewter.
Right.
It works really well with the red cedar shingles, which are also going to go gray. So the palette is muted. And in keeping with that muted palette, I was going with the Brewster gray in the door.
Right.
And the siding is white. The trim is white. The casings are proud of the Dutch Cove. So instead of being flush, as is commonly done these days, these are 6-quarter casings, so they're going to pop
Oh, okay.
like a traditional house would.
I see. I was looking at these earlier, and now that you explained that, that makes sense. And those are raised panel shutters? Or flat panel?
Those are inset panel with a slight bevel, so that as the face of the rail comes across and then it goes into the shutter panel, it's an angle as opposed to straight.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
not shaker, but it's still pretty simple. It's
Yeah.
not trying to be fancy.
So, your drawing in those shutters, looks like, I mean, on Craftsman style, you see the squares in the corner. Those are just framed. They're not squared off like I'm seeing.
By squares, do you mean like an
The
inset square?
small squares like you see inside of a, stickly furniture or.
Yeah,
No, I'm just,
but I'm not doing that.
no, I'm
in this
trying to
instance,
interpret
yeah.
it. It's just a plain frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the right elevation, is this 15 solar panels?
So that's the south elevation,
Right.
and that's a future solar panel application. We haven't decided whether to do that or not, so I didn't put it in on the front, in the piece of the paperwork, because we're basically trying to identify what solar panels to use. But that's the south-facing roof. It's back from the road,
Okay.
so it's not the street face by any means.
And right now, it'll be red cedar.
Yes.
And the proposed solar panels would not be visible then from the street, or is that right?
That's the idea,
Okay.
because that section is also set back a little bit. So that's, I've designed the main box, the front box, and then the L that reduces in size and in width as it extends back.
We have a Craftsman porch in the front style,
Yes.
facing the street.
We have,
The only thing that I don't see as is the tapered columns.
Do the abutters wish to address us on the, would you like to?
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Hi, Beth.
Hi, would
I'm
you,
Tim
if you,
Harris.
thank you,
Tim
and your
Harris,
address.
15 Pine Street. I have the house directly across the street from the house in question here. Born and raised there, been there 72 years, believe it or not. I like Richard, my mother used to do the same thing to her windows back that you talked about earlier tonight, so it's all good. I heard a couple things, or I saw a couple things on the drawings in Beth's office earlier in the week. Black trimmed windows, and I heard you had a problem with them at 53 Whistler Lane earlier today in the second case you heard. Do you allow black trimmed windows?
Case by case.
It's a different
It's not in-
situation.
It's not in keeping with anything on Pine Street.
Right.
Well, how do you mean? Well, it's, what we're looking at is a rendition of a house, and whether or not it's, what the design is, what's on the design is in keeping with the whole design.
Right, and the black,
You can't design a neighborhood.
no, I know, but you allow that where nobody else in the neighborhood has those? I thought you'd have
Does
to,
anyone else ask?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I asked to put solar panels on my roof, and you wouldn't let me. So I had to do a ground mount out back, in front of your commission.
Wait, I'm
10
sorry?
years ago. He just mentioned solar panels. I tried to do that on my roof, and I was told I couldn't do that. So I had to do a ground mount out back behind the house where it couldn't be visible from
Right.
Pine Street.
Can't be visible from the street.
Correct.
Well, he's not applying for those tonight.
No, but just for future consideration.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And it's, again, I have two other points. A very small lot, as you pointed out, 60 feet wide. He's using just about the whole 25% allowable land for this house. It's going to be quite tall. And he's also got a parking place in front of the house, you see on the plans, for a vehicle.
Yeah.
And if you come down from Mary Dunn Road all the way down to the Brewster Town Line, down 6A, there's not another house, commercial property, another house with a parking place for a car in front of the house. I don't like the fact I got to look out my front window and see a car before I see the house.
Well, as far as ground level,
The property is 110 feet deep, so he's got plenty of room to go deeper instead of put it right where I have to look out and see it.
Right.
put the driveway deeper than put in...
He put the driveway
jog in
110
front of
feet
it?
deep, but he has chosen not to. He's made a little parking place in front of the house between
Okay.
Pine Street and the house, straight across from me for a car or a vehicle.
See, on the present house, before it gets demolished, the house is forward. There's a long
garage.
driveway
Right,
to the
I
garage
drove by
in the
tonight.
back.
But, yeah.
This doesn't do that at all, and I have a problem with it, too. I have a problem with a lot here, because, first of all, it's a very contemporary house, and it's an area which does not have any contemporary houses. The siding design it's sort of contemporary, but it also harkens back to 1930s and 40s, like 1940-ish.
Not to interrupt, but the three gables on the house, I mean, that's not in keeping with anything anywhere around Pine Street, let alone the modern design.
Yeah, that I didn't have so much a problem, because there's a lot of houses, you take a three-quarter cape, full cape, they would fit on a narrow lot, but the houses always go back and back. There are lots of houses on 6A that are cape fronts, and they just have one addition after the other, which were done year after year. They got a good lot of fish in, they got some money, and they put another addition on. This is all being done at one time. But also the metal roofs, I'm not in favor of at all.
Well, they're in keeping with a Craftsman style.
Well, the Craftsman style is a very contemporary, you call it Craftsman style, harking back to when they sold a house from Craftsman.
From Sears Roebuck. This goes back to the turn of the prior century. I mean, the Craftsman, I'm working at a Craftsman house in Roslindale right now. It's, 1910, as a matter of fact. It's a bungalow style. It has a lot of architectural features like this.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't approve myself of...
Of which?
I mean,
the roof?
The roof quality is very good. It's pricey, and I would have put it on a house in Vermont when I put a metal roof on that house.
Okay.
But it was just too expensive, so I put on galvanized, and...
Right. Well, there's a lot of metal roofs in Maine, right? So...
There's more abutters, too.
Well,
Yeah, there's other abutters. So...
You want to hear from the
What your objections are, you think the house is too modern?
A little bit too modern. I don't like how it's occupying the property. I mean, you got 11 foot, I know it's a problem, the 11 foot setback and 18 on the other.
Not up to us.
Yeah, but the parking out front, I have a real problem with that.
Okay.
And just in keeping with the integrity of the neighborhood, it doesn't fit.
Well, that's a point that I want to address. You're suggesting that there's a sort of, I'm going to call it a homogeneity to Pine Street.
It works.
I don't see that. I see a lot of diversity
Okay.
in the houses on Pine Street. So from that standpoint, I'm not with your out of character argument. The parking out front is a different issue.
May I speak to that?
Sure.
Actually, 2 points I'd like to speak to. One is that the parking out front is not meant to be a paved parking area. It's meant to be a grass area that you can drive on, geotextile, something like that, so that I can turn around before exiting onto the road. Pine Street is a hill, slope.
Right.
People come down that, maybe not too fast, but, cars accelerate. It's a young family here, so I thought it would be wise to have a place to turn before you exit. Now, if that turn has to take place in the back, it could take place in the back.
Okay.
Second point I'd like to make is that actually Pine Street does have windows that have black muntins and sash, and this is the one at the corner.
Right.
So homogeneity is not something that we see in this neighborhood, but it's also not something we see in the district. That's the wonderful thing about this place as opposed to, say, Nantucket,
Right.
where all of the new houses are dictated to be exactly, essentially the same. So, thank
Well,
you.
the entire historic district, the Old Kings Highway District, encompasses every period of American architecture.
Yes.
So, and we have several craftsman-style houses in the village already. You hear what you understand?
I do. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, when I look at these plans, I see everything that I look at is in keeping with a craftsman-style house, like it's correct for this house. You're saying you don't think it's not a modern design.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to 1870s in England, as a matter of fact.
You have more knowledge than I do. I'm just seeing it through my eyes.
No, yeah. Well, it's great that you guys came. We'd like to hear from other people as well.
We have other people here.
That's great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
listening.
thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
I think my complaint is more with the zoning.
Could you just tell us?
Bruce Alberico, 20 Pine Street.
Bruce, what's your last name?
Alberico, Alberico. My biggest complaint is the setbacks, I guess, the 11-foot setback. That's the side that I live on. And I believe there's going to be like a 29-foot gable, 11 feet from the lot line, which, in my opinion, is a little too close. So I don't know if that's not you guys, though.
No,
I think
afraid
that's
not.
zoning.
No, that's, yeah. Building department.
Board of Appeals or something.
I would assume that you would, I don't know anything about.
That, too, if you don't mind. So, yes, it's a zoning issue. We will have to go before the Zoning Board of Appeals. I am definitely close to, but under the coverage, lot coverage. I'm also setting further back from the road, and I'm setting further back from your lot. I think currently it's like, the existing house is like 8, something like that. So I purposely try to get as far back as I can, and
The other side has 23 feet, I believe.
22,
22, but yeah.
22.
And so I take your point. See, what I was trying to do was I wanted to increase the separation from your property line, and I got a pre-existing condition in terms of the setback, but I could, since the side setbacks, minimum side setbacks are 20, but the pre-existing condition is 22.5 on that other side, I could get it to 20, which would increase this to 14. And
That would be better.
Yeah,
Right? No,
yeah,
that would be better.
and to your point, so one of the things I've tried to do with the height, Like I think that you're allowed.
I mean, I don't think you could even set up an extension ladder to the 29-foot peak with the 11-foot.
28.
28
If
foot
I may,
peak.
20, actually 27 too.
Okay.
But I'm not trying to misrepresent.
Not that I'm-
I tried to keep the ridge lower than 35 by a lot. Like I'm really dropping the height of this thing, because it's a narrow lot, and I don't want to overcrowd anything.
Well, moving it to 3 feet would be a good start. That's a good start for me. Yeah, I can work with you on that.
Cool. And, screening, I don't know.
I own that. Another issue that's not my time.
Well, yeah, deal with a nice fence, right? Yeah. So,
Any other questions for you?
Sure.
No, do that. You can do that. I'll work with you guys on that.
Cool.
All right?
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Peter Cutler. I own the home north of the house in question, number 10 Pine Street. I had the similar concern with the porch roofs, the metal roof, also the parking spot in front of the house. And I guess we can't do anything about allowing a second story. Obviously, that's going to impact visually from my side, and I'm on the 22 and 22-foot side.
It used to be.
So I have to go, I have to jump on Bruce.
Yeah, you have to argue with him now.
But it will obviously impact the, the light, the sun, the whole thing. But I don't believe that you folks are the people that can address that anyways. But I just wanted to voice my concern on the size of the project versus the small lot size, narrow lot size.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we're moving the house 3 feet north. Is that right? And the parking, you're going to change to the rear?
So, I don't know about, I don't want that to be a parking spot. But what about turnaround?
I assumed that's what it was going to be, actually, when I saw it, because I've tried to back out on that road, and backing out is brutal.
And I have to say, other driveways do enter Pine Street from the road. So it's possible that as you drive down Pine Street, you will see a parked car in a driveway, right? So it's kind of the same. So if it's not a parking area, but if it's a place to legally turn around without getting stuck in the mud.
But, right. I don't think we have any control over that once it's built, whether someone parks there or not.
Nor do you have control if someone parks on a lawn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
We don't.
But the intent is not to have a car in the front of the house. I mean, these people, it's the mother and her daughter and her son-in-law, they park their cars along this side driveway now, as I'm sure
Yes.
you guys could attest, right? So it's not that they're unused to that, it's just, they've got
Well,
3 new kids.
I think you presented us with an exciting design, and I don't think it's overpowering, and I don't think it's incongruous with the neighborhood. And as you've quite rightly pointed out, there's a lot of mixing and matching in most of the historic district. There are neighborhoods that are very consistent. This doesn't happen to be one of them. And I think as an article of faith, we can I can accept that the front of the house will not be become a habitual parking place. I move to approve the application.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Me.
No opposed?
No opposed?
One of you.
So, did you agree to move the property? The building?
That's not your thing, that still has to go to.
That has to go to Rick.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
But I will, yeah,
Yeah,
I will do
okay.
everything I can to work with Bruce and everybody.
So, son.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nothing else we have to do tonight?
Nope,
No,
nope.
everything's
We're good.
done?
That's it.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Just a statement that you're going to build according to this plan that we've approved. Any changes, let's see them in advance. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Come back.
Apparently, good point. Forgotten all about them. How easy we forget.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. It's a great-looking house.
Now, we have one item which was continued at the last meeting, and that's concerned with item 19-A059, 36 Wharf Lane. So, we need a motion to take it off the table.
Move to untable.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Good evening.
If you would just state your names.
Keith Mackenzie Betty, Cape Architecture.
Carlos Figueroa.
that looks a lot better.
Very happy.
Yes,
Looks great.
that's nice. Much more in keeping.
Great.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That wasn't so hard now, was it?
Richard, Carlos is the owner. Can he sign instead of Jean?
Yes. Top line here. That's from the other one.
That's the last, yeah, that's,
Yeah, I'll put that with that. Good. All set then. Thank you.
Okay, all done.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Welcome back. Now, I don't think we need to untable this other one.
I'm sorry?
Need to untable that.
Oh, right. Move to untable board application 19A071.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so,
And there's no one here.
You have choices. You can continue it, or you can deny it based on no representation.
If the young fellow who, if you, we don't know if it's the same guy?
No, I'll just wait till Andy Sweet comes in like weekly, usually on Wednesdays.
Well,
So
why don't we
I will
just-
let him, I can let him know that it wasn't, it's up to you, whatever you want to do.
Why don't we table it?
But
I think,
Do we know how we feel about no grills?
well, this particular house has grills in it now. It's got 12/12s, I think, if I remember, I didn't look at it now.
Yeah.
I think it's 12/12. And it looks very nice as is.
Right.
And I can't see going to no
Oh, I
grills.
see. Okay, so you want to deny it?
Yeah. I'll move to deny.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah. You know, if it were something like we all agreed that it was okay,
Right.
I would say, okay, then I will sign off on it when they come in with the paperwork.
Okay. Gotcha.
And it would have been done that way. But this is too radical a change. It looks nice now.
It does.
I agree.
So this is the other one. It's a Wolf Lane.
This is the wharf line.
Okay, so let me get these together. That's a deny. Deny. Okay. Okay. So there are no minutes to work on this evening. The next meeting will be Monday, September 23rd. Before the meeting, we'll have a workshop with Jim Wilson, and so please arrive by 6 o'clock. All right. Okay, that's it.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.